Most people think success comes from working harder, waking up earlier, grinding longer than everyone else. That gets you to average, maybe a little above it. But the people who actually win, the ones who build the businesses, the bodies, the careers everyone envies, they're not working harder than you. I spent 6 years studying high performers for a living, and I found something almost nobody talks about. So instead of telling you to just be disciplined, I'm going to show you 4 systems that make hard things automatic. If you want the version of you that actually finishes what they start, stick around. Quick thing before we start, hit subscribe because what I'm about to show you changes how you see effort forever. Here's the first one, and it's going to sound backwards. The best performers don't try harder, they remove the choice entirely. In 1911, explorer Robert Falcon Scott and Norwegian explorer Roald Amundsen both raced to be first to the South Pole. Amundsen won easily, and historians later found out why. Amundsen built his entire expedition around one rule: never push his team to exhaustion, never rely on heroics, just steady, repeatable progress every single day, rain or storm, 15 miles, no more, no less. Scott pushed his men hard on good days and rested on bad ones. Guess who survived? Guess who didn't? I saw this play out in my own life when I quit a stable job to start a small consulting business. The first few months, I told myself I'd work when I felt motivated. You can guess how that went. Nothing got built. Then a mentor told me something I still think about. Motivation is a liar. Build a system that doesn't need it. That one sentence changed everything. Psychologists later studied this exact pattern. Researcher Anders Ericsson, famous for his work on expertise, found that elite performers across music, chess, and sports didn't rely on bursts of motivation. They relied on fixed, almost boring daily routines. In his studies, the top performers practiced in nearly identical time blocks, same time, same place, day after day, for years. The inconsistent performers, they practiced in bursts when they felt like it, and almost none of them reached elite level. So here's the reframe. Discipline isn't a personality trait. It's a routine you've repeated enough times that it stopped requiring willpower. The takeaway: pick one task you keep avoiding and lock it to a fixed time and place every single day, no matter how you feel. Within 3 weeks, it stops being a decision. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because removing the choice is only step one. You also have to deal with what happens when you actually start. Which brings me to the second system. Most people quit not because the task is hard, but because they misjudge how long hard feels. In 1955, psychologist Bluma Zygarnik discovered something strange. Unfinished tasks stay loud in your brain. She found waiters who could perfectly recall orders they hadn't yet delivered, but forgot them completely the second the order was served. Your brain doesn't relax around incomplete things, it nags you constantly. I felt this firsthand. I once put off writing a single proposal for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of low-grade dread every single day. When I finally sat down and forced myself to write just the first paragraph, just one knee, the dread vanished almost instantly. The task wasn't actually hard. Starting it was the only hard part. Researchers later quantified this. A study tracking procrastination behavior found that the anxiety associated with a task peaks right before starting it and drops by over 80% within the first 10 minutes of beginning. Not finishing, beginning. That's the twist most people never learn. Hard things aren't hard. Starting things is hard. Once you're moving, momentum does the rest. So the reframe is this: you don't need motivation to finish a task. You need a rule that gets you through the first 2 minutes of it. The takeaway: whenever you're avoiding something, don't commit to finishing it. Commit to 2 minutes, just two. Your brain almost always keeps going once it starts. But even with the right start, most people still fall apart by the end of the week. Do you know why? It's because they're relying on memory instead of structure, which is the third system. Outsource your consistency to something other than your own brain. Atul Gawande, the surgeon I mentioned in another video, found something disturbing when he studied operating rooms. World-class surgeons, the best in their field, were still making preventable mistakes, not from lack of skill, but from mental overload. So hospitals introduced a simple checklist: confirm the patient, confirm the site, confirm the instruments. Nothing complicated. The result? Post-surgical complications dropped by over a third. Deaths dropped by nearly half. Same surgeons, same skills, just a checklist absorbing the mental load they used to carry in their heads. I built my own version of this when I kept missing deadlines in my business. I stopped trying to remember better. I built a single weekly checklist, 5 boxes, same 5, every Monday. Nothing fancy. My missed deadlines dropped almost to zero within a month. Not because I got smarter, because I stopped relying on memory to do a job that a checklist could do better. Here's the reframe. Relying on willpower to stay consistent is like trying to remember every email instead of using an inbox. It's not noble. It's just inefficient. The takeaway: build one checklist for the area of your life that keeps slipping: health, work, finances, and run it on a fixed day every week. Let the checklist carry what your memory can't. So you've removed the choice, you've solved the start, you've outsourced the memory. But there's one more layer, and it's the one almost nobody talks about. The fourth system is this: your environment is either pulling you toward the work or pulling you away from it. There is no neutral. Researchers studying habit formation found something almost funny. People who kept junk food visible on their kitchen counter ate nearly twice as much of it as people who kept the exact same food hidden in a cabinet. Same food, same person, same willpower. The only difference was visibility. I tested this on myself in the opposite direction. I wanted to read more, so I put a book on my pillow every morning after making my bed. No reminder, no app, no motivation needed. Just a book, sitting there every night, waiting. I read more in 2 months than I had in the entire previous year. This is what behavioral scientists call designing friction. Add friction to the things you don't want to do, log out of distracting apps, leave your phone in another room. Remove friction from the things you do want to do. Keep your gym clothes by the door, your laptop already open to the right document. Here's the reframe: you don't need more self-control. You need a room that makes the right choice the easy one. The takeaway: pick one habit you want and place a physical, visible trigger for it directly in your path today. Pick one habit you don't want and put one extra step between you and it. So that's it. 4 systems. Remove the choice, shrink the start, outsource the memory, design the room. None of this requires more motivation than you already have. It just requires you to stop relying on willpower and start relying on systems that work even on your worst day. Tonight, don't try to overhaul your whole life. Just pick one of these 4 systems and apply it to one task. That's it. That's the whole move. If this helped you, hit subscribe for more like this.